I'm attention coach Jeff Copper, and I'm here today to talk about what I call the interest model, or sometimes referred to as the attention model. And what this is this is a little bit of a metaphor for us to begin to observe ourselves and understand a little bit more of what we naturally pay attention to. Mind you, attention is just not your thoughts. Thoughts are the object of attention. In other lessons we talk about what the anatomy of attention is. But this is an interesting little metaphor. Imagine your brain is like a rocket. And at any point in time, you just look at it and you think, here it is on the launch pad in idle. I use this metaphor a lot with those with ADHD in particular. And imagine that if you fill this rocket with fuel, in our case, we're going to call it interest. All right? What happens is the rocket kind of shifts into gear, and it actually begins to filter things and removes distraction for you to kind of focus in on it. And the more pure the interest, it goes up to the next level where you become clear on what to attend to. T-T-E-N-D, excuse me, to meet your intention. For many with ADHD, sometimes when they're hyper-focused or in the zone, they kind of feel like, and then ultimately, you're really in the zone. Oops, let me just, when you feel your brain full of what we're going to call passion. Those are things that you pay attention to all the time. Now notice, if you talk a lot, then you're paying attention to talking. The question is what is it that's interesting about talking? And I say that because when you see people talk, you just think, well, they're talking, but you become curious and saying, are they exchanging data? Are they bouncing information off the other person? Are they bouncing logic? Are they organizing their thoughts? Are they thinking out loud? These are all the things that can be happening when a person is talking, and by the way, and more. So when I watch somebody and notice that they seem to talk, I wonder, what is it they're paying attention to? Is they paying attention to solving problems, etc.? So for those with ADHD, when they get into hyper-focused in the zone, I'm always like, what's going on that's there? A lot of times, a kid that plays computer games, they'll say, well, he's interested in computer games. I'm like, well, no, what game? What is it about the game? Because many kids, if they're playing like chess or Halo stuff, those are insightful games, whereas there's mindless games, and then there's like sports games, and they're all different. And I've noticed that when people play games, there tends to be a dominant type of theme through those. Now, we've talked about interest and passion is the most pure form of interest. And that's kind of what we're always looking for when we're trying to cast ourselves in lives and get a career, etc. If you fill your rocket or your brain in the situation with disinterest, what happens is the brain shuts off. It just goes kind of click. And the pilot all of a sudden begins to search for something that's for some fuel, because the rocket wasn't designed to stay on the launch pad. It's supposed to blast off. And so the filters come off. And if the filters come off and nothing is found of interest, panic starts to set in. Kind of a fight or flight, and that would be literally to fight or to run and hide to take the pressure off. Now, a lot of times, what I find is people, particularly those with ADD, what they do is when they can't find passion, what they do is they fill their minds with fool's interest. Forgive my handwriting, it's not the best. Working with those with ADHD, characteristics of fool's interest are things that are stimulating. They feel good, and they feel good right now. So examples would be pornography and sex, gambling, shopping, food, alcohol, drugs, acts of daring, arguments, fights. Can you feel the adrenaline rushes in there? Those are stimulating. They feel good right now. Those are characteristics of fool's interest. A person actually might be watching TV, a show that they don't even like, and that can be actually kind of a form of fool's interest, because many times, if there's something that you're disinterested in, you're going to find something that's more interesting to do. So maybe you should be doing some chores, like washing the car. If that's really, really, really boring for you, watching Andy Griffith is more exciting, it's going to be easy to find yourself procrastinating and watching Andy Griffith. Which is interesting because when you think about it, a lot of times people, when they're bored, they actually start to eat, and I can't tell you how many people that I've coached around interest as a means to lose weight, not just food. So this is a filter that I use, and we can be able to watch ourselves, and it's very, very eye-opening because I find that people have regularly reoccurring patterns of interest. And if you can just observe behavior in its natural form, it can reveal some amazing things. A person could, if they noticed, hey, I am trying to write, and they write, and all of a sudden there's a noise, and they lose their focus and attention, it can lead you to believe, or be a clue, that hey, maybe this person is really hypersensitive to sound, and that sound is a draw. It's more interesting to them and draws their attention away. And that if they're trying to write, maybe they can manage sound a little bit better with white noise and or headphones or earplugs or stuff like that. I use the interest model a lot in diagnosing procrastination, because many times we procrastinate on things that we're not interested in. Either it's repetitive and boring, or it's something that we're not clear about. We don't know how long it's going to take. Maybe confrontation. These tend to be the characteristics of things that people routinely do. So if you want to get past procrastination, if you focus on the diagnosis and say, I procrastinate on things that I'm not clear on what to do, you can focus on moving forward by focusing on how you naturally become clear on things. And how you do that sometimes is actually follow this interest model. I know this is relatively complicated, but at least it's an introduction. I use it probably every couple minutes, every time I'm coaching somebody. It enables me to back up and say, listen, I'm going to get away from the words, but what is it they're really paying attention to? In other words, they're telling me, the best way to describe this is a conversation. The person might be talking, the words are the words, but I'm looking for what's the function of the words. Are they thinking out loud? Are they explaining something? Are they bouncing logic off the other person? It's the gist of how is it serving them, because that's what they're really paying attention to. So that's the attention model, or the interest model as I sometimes refer to it, or sometimes brain stimulation. It's all the same thing. So this is an early type thing. We'll be talking about that in coaching sessions and or down the road. So that's the interest model.